Hey, what is going on? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin mining stocks, just running down the list and starting off with fear and greed. We have ticked back up into greed and extreme greed on pie vesting. And today, something very important, probably the most important financial news of the year, is that the Fed is cutting rates. So in a month or two, as you can see here, on average, typically we'll know whether we are going into a down style market or if the markets are going to continue to run. I think there's more data out there to show that we are in one of these scenarios. However, it doesn't matter what I think. Guys, this is something that'll affect Bitcoin mining stocks, everything. Something to keep in mind is the rate of which the Fed cuts rates. I know it says here 50 basis points, typically down in the near term, 25 basis points typically up. Maybe they'll do 25 basis points and we can look at one of these scenarios like 98 or 2019. But if they do 50, I'm not totally sold that this will be the scenario yet. It depends if they cut next month. And if they do cut 50, but then they don't cut for a few months, then you could take a look at it as a couple 25 basis point cuts over that period of time. So taking a wait and see approach. I think in a month or two, we're going to have a really good idea of which way the markets will be trending. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And as far as crypto fear and greed, it has ticked back up towards the neutral area. Bitcoin was challenging the 61K mark yesterday, and maybe we formed a base. Maybe the fear and greed is now going to start moving to higher highs, higher lows, still stuck in between that range. So we'll address that when we get there. And of course, something to keep in mind is Bitcoin dominance. When it goes down, that is when altcoins and mining stocks do very well. So let's get into it. Bitcoin, as I talked about yesterday, did have a buy signal on the weekly, and during yesterday it got all the way up to this trend line, and you can see right now it's challenging the 100-day moving average, and it has to break above these in order to then get to the second leg of being bullish, and then around 65K break above this lower high over here, and then we can start feeling a little bit more bullish. But until then, I think it's more likely possible to come back down here. It looks like that is what's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll just take what the market gives us. Now let's get into the Bitcoin mining stocks, and let's start off with Mara. And Mara on the daily, you can see it came back up, challenged the 0.5 fib here, and it does have a daily sell signal. So maybe Mara, if it is the turnaround, you might be able to get a pretty good deal down here at the mid $13 range. Zooming out on the weekly, you can see I have this macro Fibonacci retracement drawn. That's this tool right here. Prior high, prior low. Again, if it can't get above the 0.5 fib, then you're going to look at the $13-ish mark. And if things get really bearish, the high $10 mark. And let's go to Riot. And guys, I'll show targets based on the way the market is looking right now. And one of the essential questions I always am curious about when I watch videos is now a better value time to buy. And with something like Mara, I think it's decent value. Something like Riot, if you really like it, I think Riot is one of those. You could take a look at this right here. Is it concerning that the chart isn't looking as good as Mara and others? Yes. However, if you're looking for deeper value, Riot would be at a better value right here. So you can see holding up on the 236 fib, came back up to this trend line, isn't getting above that trend line. It's funny how trend lines work sometimes. So I would say decent area to DCA in, but this is looking weak. I would not be shocked to see it come down to the $6 mark. But I don't think it's horrible to, if you wanted to, again, not financial advice, but I would like to get some value right here myself. I think if I were more of a Riot fan, I think that'd be a decent area to put some in. Next, let's go to CleanSpark, and CleanSpark You can see here, hanging out at the 0.5 fib. A lot of these, the structure is kind of similar to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks through that resistance, you can see these flying up to the next fibs, starting to challenge the moving averages. But right now, you can't deny that the overall trend is just down and bearish. And it is possible that if Bitcoin gets rejected, you might see some of these come down. For this one, it'd probably lose the 0.5. And then we have this trend line. It would be somewhere around $7 and some price action back here as well. So $7 for CleanSpark, if that's one that you like. Cypher, I'm just giving you guys some price targets today. Cypher, stuck in the middle here between the 618 and the 0.5 fib. So you're looking for 374 going up, but 245 if you're in a dollar cost averaging appetite mood. That could be a good area to look for. Again, we're looking long term. We're waiting for alt season. When alt season happens with crypto, as I talk about every week in the rainbow chart videos, that's when these mining stocks or altcoins can pop off. Now, is it guaranteed? No, you have to get in the right ones, and sometimes it's a little bit of a crapshoot. But I believe a lot of these have really good potential. Wolf, I know a lot of you guys like Wolf. I got a little bit of Wolf myself, and like every other altcoin and mining stock, came down a little bit, but had a nice little bounce off that 200-day moving average. So if you were looking at the 200-day moving average and the 382 fib as some deep value, hey, you could have got some deep value there. But we do have lower highs. Yes, we do have higher lows, so it's creating a wedge formation right here. If it were to get up, you'd want to see it get above that 490 level, $5-ish. But if it came down, again, you would be targeting that 382 at about 287, looking for value there. And even if it came down to this trend line, I would want to see a bounce off that trend line or any areas down here, $2, 290, even that 200-day moving average somewhere around below $3. I think you could dynamically dollar cost average and look for some good value there. So Wolf holding up all right now. BitDigital had a little bit of a bounce off the 382, does have some resistance. So if it doesn't get back down there, look for the 382 again, somewhere around 257. If it gets down there, we have some price structure in the lower $2 range, around 211. Let's go to Bitfarms. And Bitfarms, let's see. Yeah, hanging around on the 0.5 fib like others. You can see, guys, I talk about this, trend lines are only good for as long as they're good for. Now, I could delete this trend line, but is something to keep in mind is sometimes the price action can bring it up back to the trend line. So all these moving averages, trend line, you could look at it more as resistance now, but that would be an area it could challenge. Then you want to see what it does off there. But you can see on the higher time frames, we have these lower highs. We do have these higher lows, so a lot of these assets are wedging up right now, but it has to get above this resistance. Otherwise, hanging out, I think, again, it's decent dollar cost averaging opportunity, but from these triangle wedge formations, we can see big moves up or down, and if it does move down, you could possibly, in the near term, if things were to get micro bearish in a macro bullish environment, but don't be surprised if you saw something here around 134, 110, 112, something like that. Let's go to Iris Energy, and Iris Energy at the 618 had a little bit of bounce. You see how this one loves the trend line. It has some key resistances, so it gets through that. Guys, this is why I'm giving a higher price point, because right now it's showing possible bullish momentum. You'd be looking for something around 1390, very important level right here, the 786 fib. But if it does break down, then you target the 0.5, possible good dollar cost averaging levels here at the 0.5, 382 of course, but the 0.5 at around 540. And then let's finish it off with Coors Scientific. And Coors, man, this one starting to move up again. So if it breaks past the all-time high of $12.28, then you can expect it to go even higher. But Coors, like that 50-day moving average, and we'll see what it does at the all-time high mark. Is it going to break through, or is it going to break down? And if it broke down, then you'd want to see the 50-day hold up. If not, then things could start to get bearish rather quickly. So anyways, guys, You keep an eye on what the rate cuts, what goes on with that today. This will be big news going forward. Is the Fed going to do 25? Are they going to do 50? Even if they are doing 50, are they going to continue doing 50? Because if that's the case, then that has often or always in the past been bad. So keep in mind what the Fed's going to do. But again, they might do 50 and then just not do another cut for a month or two. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, hope you're doing well and have a great day. Take care.